What is up, film geeks? My name is Trevor. Welcome back to the channel. We are officially over halfway through 2024, which is absurd to say. The days are long, but the weeks are short. But with that, we got to talk about the 10 best movies of 2024 so far. And that's what we're discussing here today. My favorite movies of 2024 thus far. Let me know down below in the comment section your favorite movie of 2024 or your top 10, top 20, ranking of every movie you've seen. Comment down below, hit the like button, subscribe button, notification bell, and let's hop into this. Starting off at number 10 is going to be Kingdom of Planet of the Apes. Now, this would be higher, but I found that runtime just to be a little bit too long for this one. Nonetheless, I did not expect to enjoy this one, honestly, as much as I did. I expected to like it, but I ended up liking it a lot more. The character of Noah is an easy character to get behind. He's a character you could root for, a character like Caesar we were rooting for 3 movies. We didn't know what to expect with this one. I thought Noah was just a really good character, a really likable character. A couple of characters I want to see more of, one of them being the main villain. He doesn't come in until really almost like halfway through, seeming like the 3rd act. But nonetheless, visual is fantastic, and they really just do a fantastic job of creating the world and how the world is truly run by apes. I thought they did a good job with it, a little bit slow at times. Nonetheless, really enjoyed this one. I'm looking forward to the sequel. At number 9 is going to be Maxine, the 3rd and final movie in Ty West's X trilogy. The first 2 acts are fantastic throughout this entire film. They do a great job of creating like that 70s, 80s aesthetic. Mia Goth, again, is fantastic. And you're going on this journey with Maxine, and she goes off into Hollywood to make it as a star. All the while, there's a serial killer called the Night Stalker on the loose. It sets up for a very good slasher. You have some gnarly, and I mean gnarly, kills in there. One dude doesn't get killed, but he gets his nuts crushed into concrete, and my entire theater jumped. My wife looked at me. I talked to guys after the movie about it. Did you see that? It was awful. But by the time you get to that 3rd act, it gets a little bit crazy, a little bit way over the top. But leading up to that point, I thoroughly enjoyed this film. I thought the kills were creative. It was more intense rather than scary. And I thought Mia Goth did a great job. And I thought it was a fantastic conclusion to Ty West's trilogy. At number 8 is Late Night with the Devil. This is one of the best horror movies I've seen possibly in my life. I loved it from start to finish. It feels like you're watching just a talk show host trying to get his ratings up. My goodness, was it so intense. It was only like a little over an hour long. It literally feels like you're watching Jimmy Kimmel or Jimmy Fallon and they're to bring someone to conjure up the devil. It is that intense throughout this film, and it really just goes to show how far this guy's willing to go to become famous, to get the #1 show. And it's crazy, basically assuming he sold his soul to the devil. It was filmed and it was acted and it was performed so well. It takes place on Halloween night. This is a movie I could see myself watching every Halloween for years to come. Late Night with the Devil, I think, is probably the most underrated movie of the year so far. If you have not seen it, find it, watch it, you're gonna love it. At number 7 is Monkey Man, Dev Patel's directorial debut. John Wick. That's basically the closest thing you can compare this movie to in terms of its action. Now, the first half, I gotta say, it was messy. It was all over the place, and I was really thinking to myself, what happened? And it comes to a complete halt. I mean, like, it's sprinting, and then it stands completely still in the middle of the movie for like 20 minutes. It's so slow, but it starts to build up, and then you grow with him, and he becomes like this badass fighter in this 20-minute, basically, montage scene of how he kind of finds himself. Then the movie got clearer. So I took the messiness as a metaphor for he doesn't know what he's doing. He's not that great at fire. He's getting his ass kicked. But then when the movie stopped, it almost seemed like it was reborn because now this fighting was smooth. The camera shots were smooth. I don't know if they did it on purpose. I'm going to say they did. I took it as a metaphor, and it made for one of my favorite directorial debuts in a long time. At number 6 is The Fall Guy, a movie about movie making from David Leitch, one of my favorite working directors today. This movie's fun. I love Ryan Gosling. He had me belly laughing throughout this entire film. Him and Emily Blunt, I would love to see them do another movie together again soon. And David Leitch just is the man. I love this guy, and I love what he does with movies. I love how he basically made this movie almost like a biography on his life because he was a stuntman. So it just gave a huge shout out to movie making, huge shout out to stunt people. And they set a world record for car flips throughout this film. I really enjoyed this one. Is it a little bit silly? Is it a little bit messy with the story and its narrative? 100%, but nonetheless, it is a fun time. It is a fun summer movie, and it started off the summer movie season. At number 5 is John Krasinski's If. This was a delightful film, and this will probably stay in my top 10 for the rest of the year. I find myself just smiling ear to ear, and by the end, I almost got brought to tears. It just hits you in the feels way more than you're expecting it to, and I feel this one was completely mismarketed because it did not perform well at the box office. It is really about how to deal with loss and how to never lose that inner child in you when this girl's trying to grow up way too fast, and they market it like, oh, it's a bunch of celebrities, come have fun. And the marketing was never done justice, because when I went in to see this movie, I was like, I really don't know what to expect, and I'm not all that excited for this because the marketing didn't look that great. But I ended up loving this movie, and Ryan Reynolds' little twist they have with him by the end of the film, I literally was like, I'm gonna cry right now. It just hits you in the feels. They do such a great job, and I just wish more people went to go see it. Believe you can stream it at home, watch it. At number 4, Hitman. I love Glenn Powell. He's one of my favorite working actors today. I love Richard Linklater, one of my favorite working directors. And this movie, it just works. I've seen it twice, and I got to see it in theaters, and I also watched it at home on Netflix, and it's just fun. It doesn't waste any time. It just starts, and you get to see Glenn Powell play Glenn Powell in like 10 different versions of him. It's so good. It's so funny. It's really not even an action movie like I think a lot of people are expecting, especially with the title of Hitman. But it's a movie that is like a romantic comedy with a little bit of espionage and a little bit of like intensity in there. And I just thought it was very clever. I thought it was very silly. I thought it was very funny. And I love Glenn Powell. And at number 3, Challengers. Saw this one twice in theaters with my wife, and it is just as intense on a second watch. Luca Guadagnino, can we just give this man his flowers? Because I don't think he's appreciated well enough. The way he shot these tennis matches, mamma mia. It was so intense. You're so engrossed in the scenes, the way the ball is getting hit and like the camera was on the ball. I just thought it was brilliant. Like I'd never seen anything like that before. Zendaya becomes unlikable. Never thought we'd see the day, but we do. Mike Feist, Josh O'Connor. How do you not love these guys? I want to see Mike Feist do everything. I loved him in Dear Evan Hansen. I loved him in West Side Story. I love him even more in this. And the last thing to say, I'm Team Art all the way. Fuck off. At number 2, Inside Out 2. Put this on the biggest surprise of the year list because I did not expect to love this one, even remotely close to how much I love it. It is one of the few movies I've given a 5 out of 5 to this year. A sequel to one of my favorite Pixar movies of all time. I was just so nervous going into it. I said, I hope they doesn't tank the first one for me. Maybe we get a little shout out to Bing Bong throughout this one. But Riley is a much more prominent character throughout this one. She's grown up and she's starting to hit puberty. And you have a lot of new emotions when that happens. And I thought they captured that so well. And a little anxiety comes in, played by Maya Hawke. And casting Maya Hawke's anxiety was one of the best things this film could have done. But she comes over and she starts running rampant, basically a tornado going on in the brain. That's me right there. Thanks, anxiety. I kind of felt personally attacked several times. We're planning for things in the future, things that couldn't go wrong. It's all just extremes, and they did such a good job of showing that. A movie that kids can enjoy, but I feel like a movie that people my age, around their mid-20s, could really enjoy, and even parents. It's funny, it's sweet, and it'll have you in tears by the end. But at number 1 is going to be Dune Part 2. It'll probably be my favorite of the year by the time the year comes to an end. But halfway through right now, Dune Part 2, seen it 3 times. Maybe that knife tip. And shattered. Denis Villeneuve, what a man, what a guy, what a direction, what a sequel, one of the greatest sequels of all time. Are you kidding me, man? Paul Atreides, one of my favorite movie characters ever. Fade Rotha, one of my favorite villains probably ever. What a performance from Austin Butler. But when Paul Atreides rides the sandworm, one of the greatest scenes I've seen ever, when he comes walking up and he's speaking to everyone and he's basically saying, I am the man, I am Lisan al-Gaib, and you're like, dude, I believe you. I'm with you. And I just thought Javier Bardem was just a scene stealer throughout this. He was absolutely hilarious. Gave you so much humor and joy throughout this movie. The way it ends, Paul Atreides slowly turning from Anakin Skywalker to Darth Vader. And you hate to see it, but you also love to see it. Action-packed, insane score, insane fight scenes. When Paul and Fade Rotha fight at the end of the movie, it's one of the best hand-to-hand combat fight scenes I've ever seen in my life. I love it. It's my favorite movie of the year so far, and I think it'll probably stay at number 1 by the time the end of the year comes around. That's going to do it for my picks for my top 10 favorite movies of 2024 so far. We're halfway through the year, a little over. What movies do you love the most so far? Let me know down below. Hit the like button, subscribe button, notification bell for your buddy here, right? All right? I'll see you guys in the next one.